for the final word ahead of tomorrow's game. Let's head to the official press conference where the captains, Trent Cotchin and Taylor Walker, along with the coaches Damien Hardwick and Don Pyke, are prepared to answer the media's questions.
Greenwood's okay, and if you're going to go with the 23?
All fine, yep.
What about the so-called battery levels? How are they?
Yeah, good. I mean, the guys came across yesterday. It's probably when we arrived yesterday was the first time that they got to soak up the atmosphere in Melbourne, and clearly there was a bit of a presence at both airports when we left and also over here. So talking to the guys this morning, they're really comfortable that we had a pretty normal early part of the week. Arrived last night and now we're getting ready to play.
Don just mentioned, you're soaking it up or blocking it out?
No, I think you embrace it. We created this opportunity, so certainly that's a message that Don and the coaches have said to the playing group, and we've totally embraced it. We got over yesterday, and we've got probably the most passionate and loyal fans in the competition, and they've come over from Adelaide, and so it's certainly very exciting, and we've certainly enjoyed it so far.
The MCG this morning. What were your thoughts? I mean, an empty stadium day before the grand final. When you stepped out there, what went through your mind?
Obviously, you see all the NAB Auskick stars, and they're probably dreaming of doing that one day. And we're lucky enough to be in that opportunity now. So we're certainly embraced it, and we had a good session, all ready to go for tomorrow.
For your group, did they feed off what Punt Road was all about, and what sort of state are they in?
Yeah, we're in a good state. I think we're probably between 5,000 and 7,000 people there. I'm not too sure. There's people hanging from everywhere when we're about. But our guys are just loving the environment. It's a great time of year to be playing, and a really good spot. Got through training unscathed this morning, and the players are ready to go. And they'll enjoy the parade, relaxing afternoon, and be ready to go by 2:30 or 3 o'clock tomorrow, whatever time the game starts.
What was it like this morning, Trent, or does nothing surprise you anymore with Richmond fans?
Oh, look, I think given last week and the week prior to that, we know we're well supported, and we know exactly what to expect from our fans, even through the tough times they've been there. So, it's special and it's nice. I suppose that's the part where you're grateful for the opportunity, and you wear the jumper with pride because of that support. But they'll show up in numbers again tomorrow, and we look forward to playing the way we have in the last month or so.
Discussion, Damien, about going in unchanged, and what's it been like telling those players who were right on the fringe?
Yeah, we've probably gone in unchanged the last 3 weeks, I think it's been, and guys have been playing some good consistent football, and it really is the sum of the parts with our side, and you probably find most good sides are similar in nature. We've been very fortunate that a lot of our players in our development squad have been playing incredible football as well. They obviously nearly won the flag in that league, and a lot of players put up their hand to play. They'll be disappointed, there's no doubt about that, but they're fully behind the 22 that are representing the club tomorrow, and it's an exciting place to be.
Tex, do you allow yourself to think how special a premiership would be for the Adelaide Footy Club, considering what it's been through the last 18 months or so?
Yeah, that's why we're here. We've come over here to win tomorrow, and obviously we've been through a fair bit. Lots been spoken about, but look, our group's so strong, so resilient that I've got a lot of trust and belief in the 22 that are going to run out tomorrow, and I'm confident that we'll get the job done.
So did you address it post-game? Pre-game?
Nah, not at all. We won't speak about it at all. It's all about what we do to beat Richmond tomorrow.
Consider Wayne Miller for a bit of extra speed given how Richmond line up?
Yeah, we had that discussion. And we're probably at the end lean towards Hugh and keeping an unchanged lineup. I think this time of the year, generally, when you get through qualifying finals and preliminary finals, it's you've got the right blend and balance, and we felt at the end of the day that Hugh brings what he brings, and he's been pretty solid his last 2 weeks. Wasn't his best game last week, but we're comfortable with that. But we certainly had a discussion about Wayne, and he's probably that guy just outside that is one of the ones who'll be unlucky to miss out.
How different a challenge does Richmond present with their sort of smaller setup?
Yeah, okay. That's something we looked at and considered. It's a sort of working for them with their their one tall and some other guys. Now they've got a number of guys who are not small necessarily, they're medium sized, so they're still more than capable of catching it down there. So look, we've looked at that, and that's worked for Richmond, and clearly that's how they're going to the game. So we plan for it, we prepare for it, and we think we've got the right way to go about A, nullifying it, and B, getting an advantage as well.
Joel,
Has he got a role in any way tomorrow?
Not a formal role, but he'll be around the group. And again, that was just, he gave himself every chance after injuring it the Saturday week before the prelim. But just was a reach too far. So, disappointing for him. But he'll be around the group and supporting them as a guy who's played some really good footy for us and helped in a lot of ways, as with Brodie Smith, helped get us to this position. So often it's easy to just focus on the 22 guys who are out there, but there's a lot of guys who have been really instrumental in helping not only build the way we play, but about how we go about building the culture of our footy club. And they'll be, as much as they don't take the field tomorrow, they'll be they're an important part of the club.
What's still relevant in your mind as to what you have to take into this grand final from the last game?
From the round 6 game?
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably small things, but both sides have, I think it's fair to say both sides have evolved since the round 6 game, and certainly we learn week in, week out, and after that I think we went from being after 6 rounds going 6-0, we got sat in our bums pretty quickly the next week against North. So you learn as you go through, and I think both sides have learned and adapted, and we find ourselves in this position.
Phil Walsh made you captain 3 years ago. To win the premiership, be a premiership skipper, what would that mean to you?
Oh, it's something that you'd probably look back at once you've accomplished something like that. But look, obviously he started the journey, and Pyke's this is Pyke's team, and I've got the utmost respect for Pyke. He's done an amazing job, and hopefully tomorrow afternoon Pyke and I are up there holding the cup.
For you to be, reward that with being a premiership skipper?
Like I said, it'll be something that I'll look back at once I retire.
Just on round 6 and also the St Kilda game, I imagine perhaps even more important for you than it was for the Crows, when you're looking back and getting ready for tomorrow, those 2 games.
It's, as an AFL coach, you probably learn most about your team when you lose, and we were disappointing in that game. The Crows played a fantastic brand of footy, but we certainly learned a lot about our side and went about. We got to work on a number of things. We probably took a little bit of a step backwards after that game, trying to rectify a few things in our game that we felt weren't quite to the level. But we certainly learned a lot out of it, and we're all the better for it.
And what in particular did you get? Like, I know you've got to talk in general terms, but what in particular did Adelaide show you in that game that you felt you really had to zero in on?
Yeah, well, they took 25 contested marks in that game, which is an extraordinary amount, and contested ball as a result of that was quite high. So we went to work in a number of areas to try and nullify those results, and we've been a lot better in that area of the game since. There are a couple of things ball movement wise that we probably went a lot long down the line that week, and that's been rectified as a result as well. So we pretty much, as Pyke said, your game evolves weekly. You look back at us from round 6 to how we play, at the moment, and it's chalk and cheese really.
They also score a lot of goals out of the back. Do you tweak too much to try and counter that, or sort of stick to what you know?
Oh, we certainly have plans in place. The way Adelaide plays, I think they're the best in the business of going from defence to offence. The way they move that quickly, the moving parts are interchangeable in theory, and that's one of the areas we've got concern over that we'll monitor and try and manage as best we can. They're going to get goals out the back at various stages. They're a great offensive side. Our challenge is to negate that as best we can.
So where do you go then, Damien? Is it a winning score, or is it trying to keep? Do you kick 110 to their 100, or do you try and keep them to 70 and kick 80?
The game in itself would be a part of that. We're a very good defensive side, but I think in the finals that we've played, we've kicked over 100 points, I think 4 out of the last 5 weeks. So we're capable of scoring as well. How the game pans out, we'll have to wait and see.
Probably got one of the youngest grand final sides for a fair while. You're obviously going to back the kids to still stand up on the biggest stage of all.
Yeah, I think so. It's we have to. Obviously, they're playing, so it's exciting though. The one thing about youth is they embrace whatever you throw at them. It's like it's likened to a young child learning to ride a bike. They fall over, they get back up, and they go again. If you've been around for a long period of time, fear becomes a factor. Young kids don't have that. They just keep going. So, it's sort of those sort of players that we've brought in have sort of half inspired myself and Trent to play the way we are. We believe they'll stand up on the big stage.
How are you feeling about it? Obviously, a lot's been made of the last month with both the AFL, the VFL, Dusty, yourself winning an award this week. You've played, you've coached, you've had success, but where does this sort of rate in terms of, excitement factor for a month?
It's, Don would probably say the same thing. It's different than when you're as a player, as a coach. The harsh reality is you've got very little control on game day. As a player, you feel like you can actually impact the contest. But it's great to see a group of players, and I really admire the way Trent has gone about this year and all the years really. But there's nothing better as a coach seeing a group of players under your charge and the way they play the game. I sat there and I said earlier in the week, you start to come up to the game, you feel a little bit nervous. I go and look at my team board, I automatically feel at ease. They play a great brand of footy. We have to bring our best. We're playing the best side in the competition. But we know if we play our best, we give ourselves a chance.
Dusty, you sit on that team board at the moment. Damien, have you got a preconceived idea about where you're going to use him and for how long?
Sorry, who was that one?
Dustin Martin.
Dusty, yeah. I'd like to tell Dusty where he plays, but he just plays wherever the hell he wants, to be perfectly... No, he's one of the pieces... He's a great player to have as one of those pieces you can move consistently to get a spike in performance. So, look, he'll play through the midfield. He'll also play up forward. What that split is, it depends the way the game's tracking at certain stages.
Damien, when James Hird was at, you mentioned how Dusty plays wherever he wants. When James Hird was at his peak, late 90s, that 2000 grand final, he had that role that he'd start at centre-half forward and basically you just go where you need to go. Is he in that category, Dusty, that he's just so good that you can play him anywhere?
He is, but so's the guy beside him. We expect all our leaders to be like that. If they think they can make a difference at any stage of the game by going to a certain position on the ground, that's what they do. That's what makes them great players. That's why I'm very happy as a coach to back those guys in.
Thanks. Do you expect to get Alex Rance sit on you, or how's that going to unfold, do you believe?
I'd imagine him or Asprey, yeah.
Okay, do you have to also, if you're on Rance, you have to also be mindful he doesn't become the intercept mark as well and not just play an attacking game?
Yeah, he's probably one of the best in the competition at reading the play, but we've got some plans in place up forward for that.
Don, how do you take that critical ball movement you have against Richmond's pressure? In terms of... Well, if they're noted for putting pressure on and forcing teams into turnover as well as your side is, but how do you protect that to make sure it counts on the scoreboard for you?
Well, I think it's a matter of, it comes down to a matter of the option taking. We acknowledge that Richmond's, one of their great strengths is their pressure. I think our team's capable of putting on some really good pressure, as we have done certainly in the last couple of finals. So it's going to be, there'll be a real battle early. I expect it's going to be a hot contest, and it'll come down to our decision making, both with the ball and off the ball, to try and find our options. Now, we're not a side that is one-dimensional when it comes to moving the ball, so we've got to make sure we use all the tools and all the weapons we've got to find our way through whatever Richmond's defensive mechanism is on the day.
Trent, given where Richmond have been in the last, I guess since your tenure, is it kind of just surreal sitting up there today?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's surreal. I mean, as Tex said earlier, we've worked hard for the opportunity to play tomorrow, and the evidence is there that our game style stacks up. We've learned a lot across the season 2017, but also in years gone by as well. So we think there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that hold us in good stead. There's definitely been challenging times in your career, but I think every AFL player that's been in the system for 10 or so years would have had years that they're not so proud of and years that they're really proud of, but that's all part of the journey, and we're enjoying that.
What would you say is the one, if you could narrow it down to, what's the one difference about your footy side this year than last year?
Yeah, I think it's the role playing. I mean, we've got guys that take the field week in, week out and just want to fulfil a role for our team, and I think that's the most critical part and we care about each other the most I've probably ever been a part of.
When you're probably plotting your next premiership and you're looking at your key forwards, you probably wouldn't have thought Jacob Townsend would play a key role for you. I mean, is he an example of a player who's the sum of your parts?
Yeah, I think so. It's probably as a victim of circumstance, really. I think from memory, Jack Riewoldt went out injured, and Towner came in and fulfilled that role. And credit where credit's due. He'd been an outstanding VFL form all year, was waiting for an opportunity to occur, and that door opened, and he grabbed it with both hands. And one thing about Jacob Townsend, he will give you a contest every day of the week. He's incredible. I've got to take him out of our training drills half the time because I'm worried he'll smash half of our players. But it's a great story of perseverance, and it probably sums up our side a little bit, the resilient nature of a lot of our players and the stories that come through, and he's a great one.
A couple of those players like Townsend and Graham, guys that you didn't face in round 6.
Well, look, as the guys have said, they come in and play their role, and in Townsend's case, he's hit the scoreboard pretty heavily, playing as a forward and a pressure, competing forward. And Graham, as a mid, as 4 or 5 games in, has come in and done a combination of things through the midfield, either with roles or just his energy around the ball. So, look, the reality is for us is we're aware of some of Richmond's strengths and how they play, but we've spent a fair bit of time focusing on how we want to play and adapting around the Richmond style. But ultimately, we've got to this position playing a certain way, and that way is not, as I said, one-dimensional. But we've got to make sure that we play the way we know we're capable of to give ourselves the best chance.
Obviously, last week against Geelong, really got the crowd heavily involved in that first quarter. How important is it for you guys to get away to that fast start yourselves and quieten that Richmond army that's really going to be into the game tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I think from a crowd viewpoint, as Tex said, I'm pretty clear we're going to have a fair amount of crowd support ourselves. I think there's nearly 20,000 Crows members who are coming over, plus others. So I expect it'll be more a typical grand final crowd, which will be less one-sided than maybe Richmond have had in the 2 finals to date. And we've had it the other way at our ground. So look, the start's important. I don't think anyone would sit here and say that we don't want a good start. I think both sides will be saying they want a good start, and the ability to obviously bring some real energy early, but also the capacity to settle and actually start playing the game, because sometimes you can get overhyped. So we'll just find that nice blend and balance and make sure we're ready to go.
You talked about blokes playing roles. I'm just wondering, you've got a leader there, Jack Riewoldt, who's really sort of sacrificed his own game to a great extent with getting the ball to the small forwards. How much has he led that and personified that, and how proud are you of what he's done this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as Dimmer touched on, Towner, a lot with the same, and it's just the expectation of our forward group. But it is nice to see, someone who's been in the system for so long bringing our younger guys in just by creating a contest. And he's really owned that forward line group, which just has been special within a team to see that growth throughout season 2017.
Would you ever wonder if you'd get hit?
I think you always wonder, but there's always an element of confidence as well. You put in the hard yards through 3 or 4 months over pre-season, and then, as I said, you're continually learning week in, week out during the season. I think you always hope you'll end up here at some stage, but it's one thing getting here, it's another thing performing and ensuring that you give yourself every opportunity of winning.
There's been so much attention on you guys, just it's been overwhelming, and you've been really good at enjoying it and just keeping it outside, you say outside the 4 walls. How confident are you that the team has struck the right balance between enjoying this and being focused and being right for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think we've shown that that's the case over the last couple of weeks. From within our 4 walls, this week's felt very, very normal. Today will be a little bit different with regards to the parade and so forth, but we're just looking forward to, accepting what's out there. There's a lot of hype, there's a lot of talk, a lot of excitement, which, that's the beauty of our game. It brings a lot of people together, and we love that and we celebrate that. But as soon as that finishes, we'll be ready to settle in and get ready for a game tomorrow.
What do you do tonight and until the game?
Just
tomorrow?
the normal. I think the greatest thing with having kids, which not a lot of players know, but they take your focus first and foremost. So for me, it's very easy. I just be dad. For others, it'll just be chilling out, cafe, whatever they normally would do.
Do they know much about what Dad's got on his plate for tomorrow?
I don't know. I think the elder one understands it a little bit. She'll partake in the parade, but the younger one's oblivious. She's just being her.
How much does the group grasp that line you gave us at the end of the preliminary final? It's not about playing a grand final, but winning a premiership.
Well, I think that's what we're here for. I'm going to be the same, I imagine, for Richmond. I think anyone's here just saying we're happy to be here and be part of it. We've spent a long time, and not just talking this year, preparing for this day, and that's the opportunity we get tomorrow.
You sense that it is a group that very much is on that mission, that they've had so much for so long that they have to cap it off with a premiership?
It's not so much they have to. It's more, at the end of the day, the result will be the result tomorrow. Our guys, like the Richmond guys, both sides clearly all want to win. It comes down to, for mine, in big games and finals, it comes down to a number of things, and I won't go into those now, but they're things we talk about as a group, and we've spoken about previously. So we go in understanding we think our best is capable. It's important that we bring that.
Do you feel it's about more than just turning up, don't you, Taylor? That it does require that cup to go back to Adelaide to make a statement for your group?
It'd be nice to take it back on the plane, Rich, but we've got a lot of hard work to do. 2:30 tomorrow. Richmond you can rock up at 3 o'clock if you want, but it'd be a nice start for us.
How much of a threat is their height, and did you consider, even though it's a departure from what's been working for you, did you consider adding some just as coverage in case something happens to one of your tall players?
Oh, I think we've probably taken that risk for 5 to 6 weeks now, and we've found a formula that we've embraced. Yeah, we're small, we're young up forward, but these are the things that we've had for probably 5 to 6 weeks now, and it's worked for us. So we'll continue to back our boys in, and you take a risk, but that's how things are won. You've got to take risks at some stage. We can meddle with a formula, but we've found something that's pretty consistently worked for us over the journey thus far, and we'll continue to back those players in.
Is that a risk you would never have dared take in, say, last year? Is that part of the change at Richmond?
Probably a little bit, but even at the start of this year, I was a little bit concerned. I think the common theme of AFL Premiership sides is the way they're built. Strong centre half back, strong centre half forward, big full forward, but the game evolves. Whether we're ahead of the curve, proof will be in the pudding, I suppose. We'll go 5 or 5:30. When do you want to call it? One of those two times, whichever one it may be. But we're just prepared to back our boys in. They're good role players. They understand their roles and responsibilities, and they played a wonderful brand of football thus far, and we expect that to continue on Saturday afternoon.
The forward line's elite, obviously. How do you plan for a guy that has 20 or 25, kicks to himself and sets up to like Tom Lynch does?
Yeah, he's an incredible player. He's, like you said, the forward line is incredibly talented. If you've got Tom Lynch that's capable of playing that, you've got the big fella across the table that's a match winner as well. Then you throw in Eddie. You've got Charlie Cameron also. So you can sit there and worry about all those blokes and I won't sleep at night. Or I can just back our players in to do their jobs, and whoever comes away to cut down. And that's the theory we'll be taking, because if I worry about all of those players, I won't get much sleep tonight, I guarantee you.
It's more system than individual. And you'd obviously like to stop Sloan and Laird and those guys.
Yeah, they're a great team. That's why they're here, and it's why we're here as well. The two best sides, I think, made it through. And one of those sides is going to take out that cup tomorrow afternoon.
Don, so much talk this week, particularly about McGovern and Smith, but I guess, can you just give us a word on Andy Otten? He's gone through two knee I guess with every hard luck story he comes in, and I guess in many ways his career looked over a couple of years ago.
Yeah, look, he's been a fantastic story all year. Early in the year he came in, he earned his spot, to be honest, at the start of the year as a backman, and then when Josh got injured, he went forward for us and did a bit of forward ruck work, and then fell out of the team. And with Mitch going down, he earned his spot into the prelim final. He holds it for the grand final. So it's a great story. But he worked so hard through the off season. So it's a credit to him, because he did all the work, earned his spot in the team, and he's given himself every chance. And he gets that tomorrow, which I'm wrapped for him, and I know the players are.
Tex, so we like to.
Just time, everybody. We'll have 2 more questions. Then the couple's coming up onto the stage for Damien and Don to do a brief photo. 2 questions only.
Yeah, just following on from that, just from the players' point of view, what Andy's done this year, and what his resilience and dropping out of the side, coming back and playing a couple of roles.
Unbelievable. He's welcomed the role that we give him every week with open arms, and look forward to running out with him again tomorrow, because I know the character he is. He'll just compete and compete and compete, and hopefully tomorrow he'll be one of 22 cheering.
Damien, any advice for Mrs. Hardwick? She's been one of the
that's a wasted question.
supporters of critics throughout the year. How's she handling the week? And any words of advice?
She's had a good week, Mrs. Hardwick. I'm putting that one to bed today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Nibble on that.